This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live.
Hello there. Started a couple of minutes early. Apologies on that. So if you've just... Well, actually, why am I apologising? This is Teachers Talk Radio. This is Phin Adams. We're entirely live. We're incredibly live. Somehow I've kept this show going, but more news on that to come. It's the Mental Health Hour. We're talking everything mental health. Are you burnt out? I'm a little bit.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live. Tune in live at ttradio.org, or to join in the conversation, download the Podbean app and search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TTRadio. Tune in, talk it out with Teachers Talk Radio.
Don't really know why I started this early, 3 minutes earlier than normal. So, yes, we will wait for people to join, but I am completely live. It's coming up to 6 o'clock on a Friday night. It's the Twilight Show with Phin Adams, the last one. That's right. I'm moving to Sunday breakfast. So this is the last one. I move to Sunday breakfast from next week. So from next week, join me on Sunday for your breakfast brunch, and that's at 9 o'clock every Sunday. Why have I done it? Well, a few reasons. We'll get to those. But it's all about taking care of mental health. I'm a teacher in a classroom. Well, of course I'm in a classroom. I'm a teacher in a London school, and I've been teaching for a decade. I teach psychology. I know a little bit about mental health, and that's me. I do a bit of radio on the side, including this. It's a real pleasure doing this show, and I want to keep that pleasure. So that was the first reason for why I've chosen to shift the day. Also, as well as that, it's all around mental health. And I was thinking, actually, do you really want to be thinking about the classroom and taking care of your mental health on a Friday night? It sort of takes care of itself, is what I was thinking. And I'm not dismissing, of course, people stay very late on a Friday, but actually, the vast majority of teachers I know, and myself included, try and leave that little bit earlier on a Friday. Don't we? Don't you? Or is it just me? Anyway, the show's launching next Sunday at 9 a.m. Next Sunday, 9 a.m. Big plug for the show. It will still be called the Mental Health Hour, but it will no longer be at night. It will be in time for brunch. So that's the time. Just as you wake up, maybe feeling a bit downhearted, maybe feeling a bit down-spirited about Sunday and the dawn of Monday. But I'll bring you up. I'll keep you going. That's the plan. That's the vision. That is the ambition. So I started today's show a little bit early, and I said, are you feeling burnt out? With the second week back. The second week back. It's the 16th of January, and I already feel tired. The second week back. Last week wasn't the best show, let's be honest. This week it's going to be better because I picked myself up. I've had a few more coffees, but I just have felt a bit flat. And I thought the other day, have I lost my mojo? Is that the right word for it? Have I got burnout? How are you feeling at this time of year? Because I want to test the water. Why do we do things as teachers? Why do we teach? Because sometimes I lose sight of that. And I do have the post-it note that was given to me when I first qualified, or it was in my qualification year, which was never forget why you chose this. And I think I've lost a bit of that. Because sometimes we can get so consumed by just different things, we end up not caring. We end up almost coasting. I worry that's me sometimes. Maybe I'm just too aware of everything that goes on in my head. But you tell me, where are you in your teaching journey? And if you're not a teacher, also let me know. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear your thoughts. How do you get through the working day? Because this radio show is really all around mental health. And that is largely for teachers, but also it's really for anyone who picks up and anyone who picks this up. and anyone who wants to call in. As I said at the start of the show, we are live. We stay live for the full hour, the final Twilight show that you will have in this series. And then I move to Sunday breakfast. So very much looking forward to that. But I'm not going to treat today's show as purely just a plug for next Sunday's show, even though I'm the same person. So I'm competing with myself. I want to talk to you about something, though, and that is, are you addicted to technology? Technology in the classroom, technology out of the classroom. That's the thing I wanted to talk about today, because the second week back, I've realized I'm quite reliant on AI. I've realized I'm quite reliant on email. I've realized I'm quite reliant on PowerPoint. Technology. Does it help? Does it hinder? Are you checking your emails every 7-8 minutes while you're in the classroom? Because part of what got me into teaching is I thought I wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't be checking my emails as regularly as I am, but I am. So let me know. That's one of the talking points I want to talk about today. The features we're going to have: food for thought. We're going to have dodeca decompressed. I'm going to change the name of that next week. I didn't get it in the Oxford English Dictionary after all. We're going to have, of course, Mind Gym. And I'm going to launch a new feature today, partly with next week in mind, but it's actually going to be a roundup of the papers. Now, that will be much more relevant on a Sunday morning as you're waking up, just talking about the papers, what's in the papers. Simply because, don't know about you, but I like to talk to my Pam about what the news, I say Pam, pastoral tutor group. We call them Pam in the school I'm at, which is just connected with pastoral academic mentoring. But actually, you think of it as a form. It's form time. So do you, on a Monday or any day of the week, reference or talk about or plan the news, current affairs? I've started doing that. And so I thought, do you know what? On a Sunday, I'm going to talk about the papers and make some links about what you could talk about in the coming week, if you so want to, in terms of being a teacher and supporting the pastoral needs of your students and helping them develop cultural capital. So I'm going to launch that feature this week, just to give a taste of it. And I also wanted to test out what response it gets, because sometimes I get people calling in, sometimes I get people messaging in, and sometimes I don't. And I want to see if this gets anything. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, well, I'll still do it and see if you find it useful. So that's the other feature I'm going to launch on today's show. So that's everything to come right here on Teachers Talk Radio. It's going to be a fantastic show. Time first to hear from our sponsors right here, right now.
This show is brought to you in partnership with Hachette Learning, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Level up your professional development today and visit hachetlearning.com to explore the full range of titles.
Teachers, have you heard of Bet UK 2026? It's the world's biggest education and technology event, and it's completely free for educators. From keynote speakers and panel sessions to CPD accredited workshops and networking, Bet UK 2026 is where educators from across the globe come together to share ideas, spark inspiration, and find solutions that fuel our mission to drive better education globally. Get your free ticket today at betshow.com.
Hey teachers, it's Tom here from Teachers Talk Radio, just dropping in to tell you about Teachers Talk Connect 2026. We are back with our amazing big annual CPD and networking extravaganza in Manchester. It's on Saturday, the 14th of March, and tickets are completely free for teachers. Just head over to ttradio.org/Connect 2026 to grab your ticket today. We can't wait to see you there.
This is Teachers Talk Radio.
And you're listening to The Twilight Show with Phin Adams. I hope you're okay. The final Twilight show of this series. Next Sunday, I launch breakfast. I'm moving slots, and it's going to be breakfast right here on Teachers Talk Radio. Just gone 6:05 on a Friday night. How are you feeling? Second week back after the Christmas holidays, and I'm already burnt out. There it is, screaming right into the microphone. So let's launch our new feature, why don't we? And this is a review of the papers. Now, it makes sense on a Sunday morning, but I want to see the engagement I get right here, right now. So I'm just going to give you a roundup of the papers. And if you want to message in and or contribute, feel free. You know what to do. Message in the Podbean app. You can also call me up if you wish. But this will hopefully maybe give some ideas for the next week of your lessons where you want to reference current affairs. So The Guardian, you may have seen, has Robert Jenrick's defection to Reform UK. That's featuring heavily actually on the front pages. The former Conservative shadow minister was sacked, of course, by Kemi Badenoch for plotting against her. Now, as teachers, we're not going to talk politically in terms of say what affiliation we are, because I don't think we can ever really. But certainly talking about current affairs and looking at politics is always a good topic, isn't it? At least I find. Do you ever talk about that in the classroom? I want to know. Do let me know in the chat. Robert Jenrick's sacking and defection to Reform. It might make for a lively debate. It might do. Your lesson planned, your PAM time planned right here on Teachers Talk Radio, doing the groundwork for you, or am I? So that's something to think about, possibly. But it's, what was I going to say about this? Yeah, I was going to ask you, does your school do mock elections whenever there's an election time? Does your school do it? It might lend itself to, well, we're nowhere near a general election, but political discussion. Is there space for it in schools? The Sun dumped MP dishes dirt. So The Sun dramatically imagines Farage, Badenoch and banished Jenrick, all in the theme of The Traitors, which is, for our international listeners, a TV show in this country. It's very popular in this country. Controversially, I don't really like it. The Secret Traitor, Metro, also gone with the same theme, reporting the shock Tory defection, of course, and it's using an edited photo of Robert Jenrick draped in a red cloak as the Secret Traitor. The Eye, Day of Poison and Betrayal, as UK's right-wing feud deepens. That's in reference again to the same thing as before. Independent as well, Jenrick defects as gloating Farage taunts Badenoch. So this is, they've got just a picture of Jenrick shaking hands with Nigel Farage. Because that's what I'm thinking. Are there going to be, it depends on, I suppose, the community that your school is connected with in terms of your school community. But are there going to be Reform supporters in your school, do you think, that would be interested in this? And equally, if they're not, it's often what's talked about. So are these, yeah, it might form an interesting topic and an interesting conversation. The Mirror has exactly the same. The Daily Express, Jenrick joins Reform with blasts at rotten Tories. So this is Badenoch saying, bad people are leaving my party after the Tory leader sacked Jenrick. And the paper headlines, Jenrick's blast at rotten Tories, so providing a little bit of balance there. The Times has that, as well as cost of a big family drives abortions to record high. I heard that on the news today as well, and I thought that is an interesting topic because, again, there are such things, aren't there, in school communities of teenage pregnancies, and that is a very interesting topic, something to be covered, maybe in PSHE. Maybe it's something that could be talked about in terms of affordability. It's just something that came to mind. Daily Telegraph, similar headline in relation to Robert Jenrick. Same thing. In fact, that's filling the front pages. So that might, in fact, be the main theme of next week's political debate that you could have. Financial Times, second person shot in US city. This is in reference then to the first person that was shot by ICE agents last week. The line of fire, ICE agents, Minneapolis. That's, of course, something that I talked about in my classes this week. It's heavily relevant. It's something that some would say is, well, I think most people would say is shocking, whatever slant on the political spectrum you are. But you got to be careful, haven't you, in the school debate and the school discussion around how you will talk around that, because it can get quite heated. And yeah, fielding those debates, unless you're quite an experienced teacher, it can have some issues. Or do you just jump straight into it? I think when I was in my early years as a teacher, I just sort of jumped into these debates without really thinking. I think I was quite lucky in that I started being an RE teacher, so it lends itself to sort of training on debates. Daily Star, greedy Nigel's video nasty. So Nigel Farage is or has been pranked into providing a cameo video. And that is their focus. They always go with a sort of joke headline. So maybe that's one to say for your Friday form time. I don't know about you, but on a Fridays, we have the Friday quiz, which sometimes works quite well on a Friday. Those are your papers. Did that work for you? Did that do anything for you? Will that do anything for you as a teacher? Feel free to let me know in the chat. Time for the Teachers Talk news. So we've had the national news. Time now for the Teachers Talk news, right here, right now on Teachers Talk Radio.
This show is brought to you in partnership with Hachette Learning, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Level up your professional development today and visit hachetlearning.com to explore the full range of titles.
Teachers, have you heard of Bet UK 2026? It's the world's biggest education and technology event, and it's completely free for educators. From keynote speakers and panel sessions to CPD accredited workshops and networking, Bet UK 2026 is where educators from across the globe come together to share ideas, spark inspiration, and find solutions that fuel our mission to drive better education globally. Get your free ticket today at betshow.com.
Hey teachers, it's Tom here from Teachers Talk Radio, just dropping in to tell you about Teachers Talk Connect 2026. We are back with our amazing big annual CPD and networking extravaganza in Manchester. It's on Saturday, the 14th of March, and tickets are completely free for teachers. Just head over to ttradio.org/Connect 2026 to grab your ticket today. We can't wait to see you there.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
Schools Week report that Ofsted inspections of multi-academy trusts could begin as early as 2027, according to an announcement from government. Labour had pledged to introduce this during this Parliament to replace the current summary evaluation system. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson has confirmed government will make the change via an amendment to the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill. Trust CEOs have welcomed it as a move that will strengthen accountability, but have warned inspections must reflect different sizes and approaches across the system, and have also questioned whether Ofsted inspectors have the expertise to do this well. The Schools Week report says that trust inspections will focus on leadership, governance and impact, according to the Department for Education. The department also said inspections will include focus on how effectively trusts improve schools, provide quality education, support staff and use resources and promote pupil well-being. The bill will give Department for Education new powers to step in when trusts are not meeting acceptable standards, including moving academies to what it describes as stronger trusts. The Confederation of School Trusts said it welcomed the move, but also said inspections must have a clear purpose and allow for diversity of approaches. It also said maths are a crucial part of our education system. Unions also responded and said the plans were welcomed in principle, but ASCL stressed that it shouldn't add to leaders' workload. And the National Governance Association said the framework should avoid disincentivising trusts from taking on those schools who need most help. More details and comment on the Schools Week website. The BBC Yorkshire and Lincolnshire Investigations section of the news site featured a report on what school leaders have called the lonely battle against vaping. A BBC survey of thousands of secondary school teachers has found nearly 1/5 say vape detectors have been installed in their school, whilst 35% say extra staff have been deployed to patrol the school grounds to stop vaping. The government has said it is taking urgent action, but heads and other leaders say it feels like they are all acting alone. The story features comment from leaders about the measures they have taken, including cutting down hedges, changing outdoor spaces, as well as installing detectors and increasing the use of CCTV. Leaders are also increasingly worried about the use of illicit substances in vapes. There are calls from unions for government to fund education programmes for pupils about the dangers of vaping and for clear guidance on how to tackle the issue. According to the World Health Organization, children are 9 times more likely to vape than adults. A WHO study estimated that 15 million children aged 13 to 15 use e-cigarettes worldwide, fueling a new wave of nicotine addiction and undermining decades of progress. A Teacher Tapp survey of nearly 7,000 teachers in England found that 52% of respondents consider vaping a problem in school, but this is down from 74% in June of 2024. This could suggest measures to tackle the problem are working, but it's still too early to tell. More details on the BBC News website. Schools Week says that all schools, colleges and Year 11 pupils in England will have the option to view GCSE results on a digital government app this summer. The Education Record app is being rolled out nationally after a pilot in Greater Manchester and the West Midlands last year, although only 6% of invited settings actually took part. If taken up nationwide, ministers believe it could save schools and colleges up to £30 million, including by getting rid of photocopying and reducing manual data entry. Pupils will still go into schools on results day to meet with staff and receive their grades, which would appear on the app later. It would make it easier, however, for students to enrol with post-16 providers. Schools Minister Jackie Smith said no student should have to rifle through drawers looking for crumpled certificates. More details about the app, the rollout and further comment and reaction can be found online. Finally, in the USA, a major teachers' union has filed a federal lawsuit against the state of Texas, according to an article in The Guardian. The union is challenging what it calls unconstitutional investigations into hundreds of educators who posted comments on social media following the killing of activist Charlie Kirk. The Texas American Federation of Teachers, which represents around 66,000 public school employees, is asking a federal court to block the Texas Education Agency from investigating teachers as it violates their free speech protections. The lawsuit follows cases where teachers have faced disciplinary measures after making posts on personal social media accounts. The filing says teachers do not surrender their First Amendment rights simply by virtue of their employment as teachers. It goes on to say that comments made on personal accounts outside of work hours that did not cause disruption to school operations should not be subject to investigation. More details on the Guardian online website. This has been Teachers Talk Radio News with Joe Fox.
Thanks, Joe. Interesting stuff. Right, you are listening to Teachers Talk Radio. It's the Twilight Show with Phin Adams. Let's do a bit of mind gym. So I came across this week, and it was a sort of cartoon type thing of what happens when you remain passive to disrespect in the classroom. So disrespect can mean a number of things, but it can be towards the teacher. It can also be towards other students. And it drew something interesting, which is why it's so important to nip it in the bud when it happens. We don't want to. Well, there's a few things, isn't there? There's a balance to be had because there's something in teaching which suggests that actually what we try and do is tactically ignore certain things. Tactical ignorance is partly important, but the other thing that's important is to address it because actually your amygdala will end up going into quite high alert. And even if you stay silent, the threat detection system registers it as danger. Over time, stress chemicals then build up and those stress chemicals don't fully discharge unless you take some level of action. Now, that doesn't mean being aggressive because that can often be what happens. I have actually found that as a teacher, I went through quite an angry phase as a practitioner, and I'm only just really coming out of it in the last few years. This kind of angry phase where if a student does something, you almost snap, not in a physically or verbally aggressive way, but you snap with quite a stern response. And actually, there's something in transactional analysis, which you know I bang on about day in, day out on this show, that does something where actually if you retain the adult perspective and present an air of calmness and just give clear instructions, it can actually provide a better outcome for you and for the other person or child that you're responding to. Anyway, that's just something to think about. A little bit of mind gym. Time for our dodeca decompress. 12 minutes of mindfulness meditation to get you into the weekend, helping you decompress. I'm going to change it to the Sunday reset next week. And over Christmas, I got some Tibetan bells. So they're going to be going on in the background as we listen. Food for thought also coming up right here on the Twilight Show with Phin Adams. But let's get going. So these are just basically tools and techniques of mindfulness that you can use in the classroom if you're feeling a bit stressed. If you pick something up during today's show, then use it in the classroom. Play this audio if it helps you. If you prefer, you can sit back and just listen to the sounds, whatever works for you. It's just hopefully going to help you decompress. I care passionately about my mental health. I know a little bit about it, given that I teach psychology and I'm trained to teach mindfulness in schools. So it's not therapy, but maybe this will do something for you. So when you're ready, taking a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just listening to those sounds right here, right now. Just noticing your posture, your back, and just breathing in to your back. Imagining there's a thread holding you up. Just noticing where your mind has gone, bring it back to the breath and the sounds around you. Every sound unique because it's the first time you've heard it. Just noticing where your mind has gone and bring it back to the breath and the sounds. Maybe breathing in between the breath and the sounds. In breath. And out breath for the next sound. We're live on a Friday, right here, right now. Just breathing and listening to the sounds. That's it. Just downing all those tools from the week. Letting things go. Noticing what the sounds are doing for you, where they're landing, just breathing into that. And just if your mind has taken you away, bring yourself back to the present sounds. And breath. Breathing and listening. That's all you got to do. Nothing more. sounding like an airport then, but just staying with that breath and those sounds. Breathing into them. Where are you right now? Where's your mind celebrating that you're noticing those sounds, your breath, breathing in, continuing that breath in through the nose, out breath for the next sound. Just staying with wherever that sound is landing for you, breathing in and out for the next sound. And hold, counting, and back out. And when you're ready, bring yourself back. Although, you never went away. How was that? That will wake you up. But you never went away, right? How was that for you? You're listening to The Twilight Show with Phin Adams, Teachers Talk Radio, right here, right now. And we've just done the dodeca decompress. Do you feel any lighter? I mean, studies show if you do 12 minutes of something like that a day, you're meant to progressively feel better. You're meant to progressively feel lighter. That's why I call it the dodeca decompress. But next Sunday, I'm going to change the name to the Sunday Reset, I reckon. I feel a bit lighter. How are you doing? Just gone 22/7 on a Friday. It's Friday, and we're ready to go. Time to hear from our sponsors. And after the sponsors, we're going to do Food for Thought. That's all to come.
This show is brought to you in partnership with Hachette Learning, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Level up your professional development today and visit hachetlearning.com to explore the full range of titles.
Teachers, have you heard of Bet UK 2026? It's the world's biggest education and technology event, and it's completely free for educators. From keynote speakers and panel sessions to CPD accredited workshops and networking, Bet UK 2026 is where educators from across the globe come together to share ideas, spark inspiration, and find solutions that fuel our mission to drive better education globally. Get your free ticket today at betshow.com.
Hey teachers, it's Tom here from Teachers Talk Radio, just dropping in to tell you about Teachers Talk Connect 2026. We are back with our amazing big annual CPD and networking extravaganza in Manchester. It's on Saturday, the 14th of March, and tickets are completely free for teachers. Just head over to ttradio.org/Connect 2026 to grab your ticket today. We can't wait to see you there.
This is Teachers Talk Radio.
And you're listening to The Twilight Show with Phin Adams. I hope you're okay. There we have it then. So it has been an absolute pleasure keeping you company on this Friday night. For our final 15 minutes, it's time for Food for Thought. So the feature we regularly do, that's where I'll just give you a couple of tidbits, let's call it that, motivational things that might help you get through the next week. Some teachers, now I know a few teachers that have sort of motivational quotes dotted throughout their classroom, and they've kept them there since they qualified, right? I vary mine because my mind gets a little bit bored, hence why every week I find something new. I found a couple of passages for you that just might help you with those hard moments, those hard interactions with students or teachers even, or just those days where you're feeling a bit flat. I had one or two of those this week, as I said to you at the start. I just felt a bit flat on a Thursday. It's not normally when I feel flat. It's normally the Monday, Tuesday, but it's just Thursday. I thought, why am I doing that? So I found this, and I don't know, sometimes framing something differently can help. It's from the book Commentaries on Allegories, and it's just got the title, A Change of Perspective. How about this? Rainstorms outside are bound to end sooner or later, but how do we appease the storms within our mind? We can't rely on the temporary world, which is like flowers in a mirror or the moon in the water, to bring peace to our mind and body. Crying and smiling are two sides of the same coin. What matters is that change of thought. After the rain, as you complain about how difficult it is to walk on the muddy road, why not look up and see that a starry night sky happens to be lighting up the path beneath your feet? There it is, a bit of reframing, a change of perspective, right? I just had a bit of a rubbish day yesterday, some rubbish interactions, I just felt like, I don't know, just dull. That's how I would describe myself. I felt sort of deadened, right? And that brought me up. Changing perspective, right? You can't change the externals, but maybe you can change what's going on internally. Maybe. Bit of wisdom. I don't know. Something I'm going to stick on my desk next week. Another one for you. This one is just called Effort is Like a Treasure. And it is translated from Chinese, and it's from the Dharma Apada. So it's translated from Chinese in 1985, the date. So if you like this, have a look at this. Have a think about this. Those who make effort are mindful. Through effort and self-discipline, the wise make a continent for themselves that cannot be submerged by a flood. There it is. There's the quote. How about that? I quite like that because here's the thing, right? Through effort and a bit of self-discipline, actually, we do something for ourselves, right? Those stressful moments. That's why, as teachers, we go through all that training, and the more experience you get, in theory, is meant to then help you deal with more complex situations. And I don't know, that spoke to me. That did something. Okay. Did it speak to you? Did it help you? I'll give you one more in just a sec. But we've not had many messages in today's show. Feel free to message on the Podbean app if you're listening live. You can do that just by typing in the search bar. You can also call me up. We sometimes get calls, sometimes we don't. And it's been an interesting show. And we've talked many different things, from feeling flat this early into term and something in the weather and changing that perspective. The reason why that previous little excerpt really spoke to me is yesterday when I had a rough day coming out of the classroom, it was a little bit linked to the weather. Do you find that there are so many variables in what we face as teachers that the weather isn't always talked about in the way that English people do, right? But actually, the weather does have an impact on teacher mood, teacher behavior, and pupil behavior. Think of wet lunches and the behavior you see coming back into the classroom after pupils have been cooped up inside. Goodness knows how they get on in Wales, where they experience so much rainfall. There I was thinking I would retire to I'm nowhere near retirement, but there I was thinking I'd retire as a teacher to Wales. I don't think I'm going to do that after yesterday, where I'm based, we were practically flooded. I'm not really flooded. There was just a lot of rainfall. But it does have an effect on mood, right? It does. It really does. Okay, I've got one more little excerpt for you that might help you get through next week. Well, it's not just about getting through, is it? But it's about sort of bringing yourself up. This one's a poem, right? This one is a poem, and it is from the Chan Master. And it's just called Poem of Mountain Living. Have a listen to this. Worthless it is to boast of competing for gain and pursuing fame. In the wild, leisurely strolls a lone monk. Out of fields of the heart grows no grass of ignorance. From gardens of realization blossom bushels of flowers of wisdom. Beside the yellow mounds grow abundant brakes and shoots. Over mossy grounds alight few dusts and sands. Having come here in my 30s, many times the setting sun has been reflected on my windowsill. For 40 some years in seclusion I have lived, unaware of the mundane world's rises and falls. Nights are kept warm by the burning pine leaves in the stove, while midday hungers are satisfied by my bowl of hand-picked wild vegetables. Seated atop a stone, watching the clouds with carefree thoughts, patching clothes under the morning sun cultivates a peace of mind. Should one ask why I came here from the west, I tell only the river channel all of my private thoughts. So why did I pick that, you're probably asking, as the final bit of food for thought right here on Teachers Talk Radio? Well, it's because it spoke to me a little bit about nature, and we lose that, don't we, when we're in the classroom? When I was training, one of my mentors said, you must do 2 things in the week. Make sure your duty is outside. So you know the statutory duty that we've got to do is teach. Well, we do it in British schools anyway. If you're listening internationally, you might not have that. So she said, make sure your duty's outside. And secondly, do something during the week. And I thought, wow. Well, actually, I didn't think wow when I was told it. I thought, goodness, I've got 20 other things to do. How can I possibly consider making sure my duty is outside? But here's the thing, connecting with nature, there's something in that, right? Making sure you're connected with nature in a way that attunes you. I don't know, that quote spoke to me. Connecting with nature, there's something in that. Because as well, here's what we'll finish on. We're beginning to see the first signs of spring. Are you noticing that? I walk out of school. I got out a bit early today, just a couple of minutes before 4 o'clock, and it's still pretty light. Given we've had the shortest day last month, we're through the hump of the year. And it's wrong, isn't it, to count down the year like that? But that little bit of extra light, it lifts you. It really does. So that lifted me, and I thought, actually, there's something in that poem that did something. And if it did something for you, feel free to keep it. If it didn't, well, you'll never have to hear it again. So you have been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. I believe the next show is to the Tomorrow Breakfast Show. I am back on breakfast next Sunday. So if you do want to listen to that show, all you got to do is set your clock for 9 a.m. if you're already waking up, or you can listen at any other time as a podcast. But if you want to listen live, feel free. It's the Sunday breakfast show or brunch, whatever you want to call it. Sunday, we start 9 a.m. and I'll have a host of regular features and some new ones. The final Sunday of January, next Sunday, the 25th. So it will be an absolute pleasure to have your company then. And it is just before Points of View. which I've not gone on yet, but I will at some point. It's where teachers share their reflections and perspectives on just where things are going. As I say, this really is a radio station for teachers, by teachers, and we're just talking it out. But of course, if you happen to have found this, stumbled upon it, then you've stumbled on the right hour, because it's the mental health hour. I know a thing or two about it simply because I teach psychology and have done for a decade, and I'm trained to teach mindfulness in schools. This is not therapy, but hopefully it's done something for you, or is going to continue to do something for you. As I say, feel free to message in whenever you like, wherever you are. I'll pick it up next Sunday at exactly 9 a.m. But this really is the final Twilight show with me, because as I said, we're moving to that Sunday. So sad in a way, but on to pastures new, and really breakfast is just that little bit better. I hope I have, in the past hour, helped with a little bit of decompression after a long week, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And if I haven't, well, next Sunday will be that little bit better. I'll see you then.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.